everybody. Welcome to Esoteric Vancouver's broadcast today. And today I'm very, very happy to invite Cindy to join me in this interview. And she's one of our vendors that's going to be present at the Esoteric Arts Fair. So let me introduce Cindy for you. Cindy is the founder of Soul Provider Healing Arts and Spiritual Works in New Westminster, BC, Canada. Cindy is a gifted Reiki Master and an intuitive healer, psychic medium, and several years ago, she added the Paranormal Investigator to her arsenal. Her journey as a Spirit and Lightworker began in her mid-20s through a series of awakenings, and her development began really in 2017, where she received that nudge to move forward with her journey towards becoming a Reiki Master and then a medium. Having had the experiences with spirit and the unknown has made her more curious about the spiritual world. Thank you. Thank you for not giving up on the spirit world. Her discoveries, she took the opportunities to be trained with gifted mediums locally as well as in the United Kingdom. So, the spiritual end. And further, sharing her love of working with spirit, whether it is through her healing or reading sessions. So Cindy can be found in and around her home base at First United Spiritualist Church in Burnaby, BC, where she can be seen speaking and facilitating all things spiritual, promoting the spirit of spiritualism. She occasionally facilitates their development circles, and she also does readings and healings at their psychic fairs, as well as psychic and wellness fairs in all around Vancouver, BC area, which is why we get to have her at our fair in July. And however, she has also performed readings and healings to recipients internationally. And she is also a member of the SNUI, Spiritualist National Union International, and the ISF, International Spiritualist Federation. So Cindy has appeared in live broadcasts with best-selling author Teza Zalcita in an episode of the Witching Half Hour or So podcast, the August 2023 issue of the Paranormal Underground, as well as in the CJSF Radio 90.1, which was aired on October 26, 2023, and most recently appeared on an episode of the Connected Spirit podcast. And she has been through an end of life, aka Death Doula. I just found out this is a thing. Program in 2023. Cindy is currently in development, working towards becoming a Death Doula as well. And this is such an important work, Cindy. So my heart to your heart. Thank you so much. And I'm going to welcome Cindy on stage. Hello,
Thank
Cindy.
you. Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be with you all. And thank you, Anna, for organizing both of us. Very excited. Thank you.
Thank you. And usually I open up the conversation is to just invite you to talk about your journey as how did all these things, all these wonderful gifts kind of came together in your life, and how did it motivate you and decided this is the path that I want to be on?
Well, let's backtrack a little bit. I didn't set out to become anything in the spiritual realm or in the anything to be in the spiritual wellness community and whatnot. And it was so far-fetched because I had a full-time job. I have a full-time job, what pays my bills and whatnot. But everyone needs a hobby, right? Everyone needs a hobby.
Yes.
And it turned all this, the unknown, like this, and about the spirit world, and turn it, and using the pendulum or using tools or cards, and turning the unknown to be known to me. So when I discovered what the spirits are about, or what people say ghosts, and I go, wow, it exists. And when I thought it was just in the movies. in the movies and shows. I go, that's just Hollywood. And when I discovered that they really existed, and shortly thereafter, I discovered that there were people who actually talked to the dead.
Mm-hmm.
I quickly became so intrigued, and I was fortunate enough to live in a household or have people around me who did not deter me from speaking these type of topics. I was
Yes.
yeah. So when I discovered all of this, I could say that it was an awakening of some sort. I grew up in a Buddhist household, and when I became a teenager, I was trying to find a belonging, and I became a born again Christian, which I found out did not allow me to have the self expression of my own spirituality, of what my belief systems are. So when I discovered that you can be spiritual without the religion side of it, that was my second awakening. I go, that's it. I'm done. I'm doing this now. I'm gonna forge on to my spiritual journey, my spiritual path, but not to be shackled into a religion. So that's what started it all.
Oh wow. And I think that some of our audience may, because then I've talked to a lot of people and they all kept saying to me like they feel like the religion has not been supportive in their spiritual growing, whether it's Buddhists, Taoists, or it could be so many different things. And it was really interesting that hearing you say that, like, what would you say to the people who are sort of in the same situation? Like, how what was it like to feel, or maybe it's not a feeling, maybe it was a sign, I don't know, because people might be different, but what was it for you to make sure that it's that click or that drop of the rock, and it's like, this is, I need to like get on with my own path and then like venture out? Like, what was that feeling, or what was the incident that triggered that move?
I felt like hallelujah. I never felt this much freedom in my life. My soul journey, my heart, my mind. I feel like this like I said, these shackles has been taken off, and now I'm free. My soul is free, my heart is free, and now I could journey towards life in what they call the spiritual realm, and find what my soul wants, what my soul journey is, and discovering who I am, why I am here, my life purpose. We're all here for a purpose. So upon discovering what my purpose was, then I thought to myself, no one can dictate what that purpose is, and no one can dictate what my journey will look like.
Yes.
And so being part of a religion, they told you what to do, what to eat, what you have to do, and who you interact with. I go, wait a minute. That is not a journey. This is putting myself inside the box, which I am not. That.
Yeah.
So it's freeing. It's freedom.
Yes. And so while we're on the sort of like, we kind of dabble into the purpose talk, you have to tell us, like, what's that purpose? What's your purpose when it comes to you and you're like, oh, I guess this is me.
Oh, I discovered my purpose by accident, actually. Well, maybe not by accident, but I was meditating one day, or not one day, but several days, and I sing alone to myself and looked inward. I go, why am I here? Why am I here? And then I was drawn to the life of service and being of service. And this service could mean to humanity. And how do I serve this purpose to humanity and to help people? Because we all gone through trauma. We have gone to the dark side, and we have all hit rock bottom somewhere. So I discovered my life purpose is to be of service to humanity. And how does that look? At that time, I didn't know how that will look, and now I do. So my life purpose is to be of service to humanity, and that through energy healing, through mediumship, and helping people uplift their souls, and how their souls going to unfold, because I've gone through the same thing and would like to support them in that way. So it's so much fun and so blessed and grateful to be able to do this.
Yes. And would you say that before that realization of the purpose came through, do you always believe that you have a purpose? Or because some people were like, I might never have a purpose in life. And so I wonder, what's that like for you?
I believe everyone has a purpose, whether bad or good, it's still a purpose. And your purpose changes from day to day. My purpose changes throughout the year, but the core of it is to be of service to humanity. And there's many branches of that. There's many arsenals how you could do that. And somebody could become a mother. That could be her purpose, to become a mother, to be able to foster a loving relationship with her children, to bring that children up to be able to be potential leaders of humanity. That could be her purpose too. It doesn't have to be a wellness practitioner. It doesn't have to be a holistic practitioner. It doesn't have to be a doctor, something that makes a lot of money. It could be something very simple. And mine happened to be not so simple. It can be a lonely journey. It's a lonely journey. Yes. It's a hard journey because you're doing the work, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And I totally agree with that. And the reason that I asked that was because I'm sort of like on the other side of the spectrum, where when I was very, very young, I knew that I have a purpose, and I was sure of that purpose already. Somewhere around, I would say for sure by 17, I can articulate clearly of what that purpose is. And I would say somewhere along, I think, before that, it was kind of like it's still like I was trying to figure out what's that thing in the mystery box. I put my hand in, I was trying to figure it out. And by 17, I was like, okay, I think this is what it is, and I can kind of start feeling it a little bit more. So when people ask me about, I always wonder what my purpose is. I was like, I'm not a good person to ask this question, because I kind of just know. And so that's why I like to hear other people, like you, just how you explain it, because it's, for me, it's just like, so good. And so I might steal it in a bit.
Not everyone know their purpose until later in life. And some people know what the purpose is earlier on, even before puberty. Like children who are gifted musicians, like piano players, that may be their purpose, is to share the gift to the world in that way. Like, that could be their purpose. Their purpose looks different for everyone.
I totally get it. And so now this is kind of a good segue. So now you understand your purpose. At that point in life, you understand that your purpose is to help people. And so typically, what are some of the like, who come to you for your service, and what kind of conditions that they found themselves in, that they were like, I need help? And so what can you describe that for us a little bit?
Whenever someone comes to me for help, we always start off with a conversation first. I want to know what their background is, why they come to the point that they need help, and really take a deep dive into their soul and allow them to tell me their story. Everyone has a story. So when they tell me their story, then I could pinpoint where things need work. So allow themselves to open up to me, and then I can work with that. It's so hard to work with somebody who's closed, who's blocked, and not open to receiving help. In order for me to help them, they got to be receptive too. So once I achieve that, then we can work together. But we can work together when they don't want help, but we can still work together at some point. But at the end of the day, we all have a story. I would like everyone to tell their story, open up to me, and go from there.
Yeah. And I totally agree. Like we're born to tell stories. We're born to tell stories because that's how our civilization has been passed down from one generation to the other. We're born to tell stories, and everybody for sure has a story to tell. And it is very, from a healer perspective, and it is sad to kind of see that traditions didn't really get developed in the recent years, and we're kind of like, oh, that's rather unfortunate. And so I'm so happy that these are the people, when they come to you, they get to really express their story and then really tell you and open up to you. And so thank you for doing that.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah, definitely. And so I'm imagining like we're gonna have audience here that sort of resonate with that, and they're gonna come to your booth at the esoteric fair. And so tell us a little bit, like, what's it like working with you?
What's it like working with me? Well, I have been told that I'm like an angel, and whenever they just sit or stand right beside me, they immediately open up to me. And I feel so honored and privileged to be able to do that. And to be able to be provided that gift from source, from the universe, some may say God, and to be able to help them in that way, it's so, what a blessing. It's
yes.
And working with me is it will be a blessing too, because we get to exchange our energy, we get to be in each other's spaces, and I want everyone to know that I am always there to help and create that sacred space that you need to be able to, for me to be able to help you. So that sacred space is very important between the recipient and the one who's giving the service. Developing that sacred space, developing that trust, and solidify that relationship is very important to me.
Definitely. And so, because like from this end of the camera, I can feel like your energy just reminds you, like, it's really fuzzy, like it's not fuzzy, but then like warm, and then like cozy, and then it's like, you're being surrounded by a cloud, and then that's kind of like a warm feeling. So like and it's so amazing because my energy deals with a lot with change. Thank you.
Oh, hi.
It actually give out the heart. Yeah, and then so my energy deals with change and transformation a lot, and so it's really it's great to feel like a different energy that's just like, I'm like in the spa. This is really good.
Exactly, like a spa feeling. And it is a hope that when clients leave my booth or leave our space that we have developed, that they leave it in a better state when they arrived, better than when they arrived.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
lifting, the rejuvenation, the resetting, and they leave happy.
Yeah.
Seeing their
So
soul.
when we Yes. And
Yes.
when we're in the back room and we talk about how like this is your unique way of serving people is to blend mediumship and with energy healing all together. And so for those of you who are interested in like experiencing that, you can come to Cindy's booth and then get a 15 or 30-minute energy healing, or you can get a reading, or you can get a combination of both things in whatever the combination you want. And you'll definitely be able to get the feel of Cindy at the booth. And now I do want to like talk a little bit about when we were in the back room and you mentioned to me about providing food to your soul. That's one of your tagline.
100%.
Yes. And then so for people who are listening into this interview, how in what ways that can they sort of provide food for their soul?
Well, sometimes at the end of the day, you feel so you don't feel rested, and you feel out of sorts, and you feel something's off kilter. So it's important that you're able to come to me and receive an energy healing and leave like everything's aligned. It's similar to when someone's going to the gym a lot and they stop going to the gym. What happens? They're out of shape. So in that sense, I'm there to put your chakras, your energy field, in shape.
Mm-hmm.
And be aligned with everything that's within you, and have your energy field, your aura, to be aligned with your soul, to give your soul what you really need.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And while we're talking about alignment, because this is sort of like the word that spiritual community we use a lot. And for the people who are like audience who are just like trying to get into the spiritual world, or they might have just like, I don't know about what's my condition and I'm looking to all sorts of different possibilities, they might not really know. They might know the word and what it means literally in English dictionary. But how does that feel? So when you're in alignment, what are some of the ABCD things checklist you can sort of like, oh, this is da 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 da.
It may sound simple, but it takes a lot of work. For example, doing the work on yourself, and and see what triggers you, and work with your triggers. And when you're in, that's when you're out of alignment. It's for example, when your tire's out of alignment and you're driving your car might shake a little bit, or maybe a lot, and that's not good, right? That will erode the tire, that erode your car, and you want your car to run in tip-top shape. So in order to do that, you have to make sure everything's aligned, like the tires. It's interesting, I'm using the car as an analogy. And when things are aligned, things run smoothly and run smoother. Your life force, everything flows, everything feels like heaven. I don't know what a perfect word for it, but feels like like the angels blowing the horn, and feels like that, and life is good. You're finally feeling everything, your soul, your heart, and your mind, when they connect together, it just feels like everything's falling into place When you work on yourself,
Yes.
things always fall into place. When you're out of alignment,
Okay.
then
Yeah.
nothing feels they're falling into place. So this is
Yes.
very important.
Yeah. And then so while I'm hearing that analogy, and I was like, yes, I can see why like a car, because we do align everything in the car, and I can kind of see how in because we are in different fields, and I can see how when I talk about alignment, I'm dealing with a different part of the alignment of that car driving experience, whereas you're dealing with the actual car. So for example, like, put in the right gas, right? Like you need the right gas for the right car, right? You can't just put
Right.
diesel
Absolutely,
in
100%.
another car, right? And then you want to make sure that all your components of the car is in its best shape, and so you deal with that too. And then also making sure that the car is appropriate for wherever the journey is you're going, because you don't want to drive a Ferrari on a dirt road. It was like, why would you want to do that anyways?
No, you don't.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of the things that deal with the physicality and how driving the car feels like in that moment that you deal with your energy healing and with your reading. And I think that's amazing, because I typically deal with the, understand how do you get to your destination, understand like what are some of the things you need. So I'm more like the thinking part of the drive, and you're like the physical part of the drive.
Spiritually, you need the right part, you need the right energy, the right vibe. And it's, the right vibe is very important. You got when you're doing this type of work, you got to make sure that you're not lowering your vibration, because it's so hard to do the work when your vibration's low. You don't feel that you're being of service to your recipient. You feel when you're being very tired the night before, and you're doing a reading for somebody, and you're so tired, then you're being what they call it, a disservice to that client, because they're not giving your client the quality they need, whether it's a reading or an energy healing session, any type of session that they want. If you're not up to it, and you've lowered your vibration, then it's your client will be able to see that the quality is not there.
Yeah, and then I would say that it's definitely the same with your, like, doesn't matter, like, with your client's job, or how people show up, they need that energy behind them, and they need that good vibe behind them. Because then we often talk about, when someone show up at work, you can tell that there's something off without really engaging that conversation. So it is a thing. And being able to stay in your optimal performance in, whether you're an accountant or you are a podcaster or whatever you do in life, you need that energy behind you. And that part, it's not so much of a thing that we talk about in the real world application, other than you need to sleep well, you need to eat well, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, so there's a lot more like energy component that I think people may realize, and they haven't really been able to put it into words. And I think that when they go to you, and then when they go to you, I think you are going to help them figure that part of the wording and vocabulary, and then help them figure out what that's going to be like for them.
Absolutely. 100%. 150%.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun.
Absolutely. So much fun. It's going to be fun, because if you're not having fun, why do it? Yes. If people haven't realized this is like the third interview we did, and if people haven't realized that we're all about fun, then this is kind of weird. We've been talking about fun, having fun so much.
And that's definitely one of the main thing that we want people to experience at the fair. So thank you for saying that. And so for anyone who's interested in like talking more with Cindy at the fair or before the fair or after the fair, at the end of this video, you're going to see Cindy's social media link, and you can always feel free to follow her and reach out to her through her Facebook page. And now, since we have time, and then so we're gonna sort of push that formality of the interview aside, and we're just gonna like talk about random things. And so one of the things that I was talking to Cindy about prior to in the back room, we were talking about mediumship, and so I think that's gonna be a very fun topic to like continue that conversation.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so yeah, so when people come to you and then they're talking about, you know, I have this pain that I cannot explain, and as a spiritual healer or a spiritual worker, I know that sometimes those pain can be from, you know, past life trauma that you've inherited. So like the soul may not know in the present time, but then like throughout the lineage of your soul transferring, you inherit part of that trauma. And so how do you explain that to people? Do you just like straight dive in and just like, just so you know, this is how it goes?
Well, I don't go straight into that subject because they might get frightened or freaked out. They go, oh no, they know too much. She knows too much about me now, and people do close up, get freaked out about that, right? They often, they don't want to open up to somebody who they don't know, but because I create that sacred space, that they're able to open up, and so that's where the storytelling resides. That they're able to tell me their story, and to be able to pinpoint where that pain is coming from. It could be a pain from a car accident, or maybe they have gone through a relationship breakdown, and their pain could be reside from going to the root chakra, which is right in the bottom of your spine. And many people who experiencing a relationship breakdown, they don't want to talk about it. They don't. And a lot of people, I find that they suppress their feeling. They suppress it, and the more you suppress it, the more it's going to go into your cellular and your DNA. And my job is to release that, and release that, to unblock that, to allow that energy to flow again, so that when it surfaces, you're dealing with it. It makes things flow so much easier when there's no blockage at all. So
yeah. And when you were saying that, I definitely remember like my past experience. It's not so much about the people around me wouldn't open to me expressing that feeling inside. It's more like they don't have the capacity to hold a space for me.
yes,
because everybody has their limits in terms of how much negativity they can take. And I think in those situations where if somebody is feeling like their immediate surrounding people could not hold that space for them, like you would be the perfect person to connect with, because this is what you do, and from a professional point of view, that you have the capacity to hold that space for them.
Precisely. Holding space is so important for everyone. Doesn't matter if you're a practitioner or on the other end of the stick, and everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to have that space to be able to express themselves, and energy healing is very important for that aspect too, because energy healing does not discriminate. It doesn't know whether you're female, male, or it just knows where it needs to flow. And life is so good when it flows, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember my friend said it to me. It's like I we're we have a lot of where it comes from. That's how the like two friends rephrased it for me. She's like, they said energy healing, it's plenty of where to come from. So it never runs out. It doesn't exhaust. Well, I mean, yes, there's as a conduit, there may be some exhaustion that happen. However, it doesn't deplete you as if you're just using your power, using your own power and energy to help the person in front of you.
Yes, because we're conduits in this abundance of life force energy. You're not giving a lot of yourself. You're just becoming that channel all that energy through you. And when it come through you, you're also receiving healing too from source, from all this
Yes.
beautiful energy. You can ask anyone who's done Reiki or gone through the courses. They will always tell you that this beautiful life force energy is so abundant, and this energy is so beautiful. It's amazing. So that's what keeps people coming back, and that's one of the reasons why I keep doing this. Because when you're doing this, life is beautiful. I find.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and you've mentioned something earlier about you have courses that you teach to other people. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yes, I it's sporadic. It's not frequent, but I do facilitate development circles in, like Anna said, First United Spiritualist Church. And these development circles, it's called development circles, it's because we sit in this room in a non-judgmental way, and we develop our spiritual awareness. And that spiritual awareness can be developing your mediumship, your psychic abilities, or your spiritual awareness of being aware of yourself and where you're going to go. So it allows you to open up your gift when you discover, oh, I can see spirits. Where am I going to go with this, right? So I'm there to help you and guide you through your journey and to support you as well. And we all hold space in that form. So I do help people develop their journey, just like I had a mentor that helped me develop my journey as well, my abilities. So yeah, visit First Night Spiritualist Church. You'll find me there. I may not be facilitating that night, but I'll be there.
Okay. And while you're talking about your mentor, like I'm so curious, what was your experience like when you're learning in UK? Because then that's like the major woo-woo. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, like
woo-ism.
Yeah. Yeah, because then like I've met I have a coach friend. She worked with fairies, and the last time when I was in England, there was like funny things that happened, and it was just like this is the place. Right, for all the places, this is the place that happened. So I really enjoy being there. And so I'm curious about what was that study, development kind of feelings when you're taking that course.
Well, whenever someone wants to be a developing medium or developing energy healer or developing anything in the spiritual space, it's always important to have someone to support you and guide you and be able to tell you what you need, how to improve, and what needs to be done for you to improve. And nobody does this work without a tutor or a mentor, because you can't just go crashing into into some psychic fair and say, hey, I'm going to do a reading, and you're doing it so unethically and doing it incorrectly, because when you're doing this unethically and incorrectly, Spirit doesn't like that. You got to do it the right way. So
Yes.
I say to everybody, if you're wanting to do this type of work, look for a mentor or look for somebody who will teach you how to do this type of work correctly. It's so important.
Oh yeah.
Even the natural born mediums will go through a mentor or go through a tutor or go through some type of development to be able to do the work beautifully and properly.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because your talent gets you far. Like it only gets you so far, to the point that you're gonna need you, because we don't see our back. That's just how I can say it. You don't see our back, and we don't see our back, and so people need we need other people to tell us what we're not seeing. Right? You don't know what you don't know, and so in that sense, I know perfecting is not really like the ideal word to say it, but the traditional way of saying is like perfecting the skills is it takes other people giving you the feedback, and then sometimes you might have new thoughts and you need the other people to, in the martial art way saying it, it's like you need sparring with other people in a friendly manner to facilitate that conversation, so that you understand, like, okay, where am I veering from the path, or am I having a good understanding of what I'm talking about? And it's especially for those people who are wanting to develop their own method, that's super important to get feedback from other people. It's like, I don't think this worked as well, or stuff like that. Yeah.
Correctly. And having a mentor also helps you push the envelope, push you to another level. They will be able to see and assess you, go, okay, you're at this level now, let's put you to the next level, and they'll be able to do that, because when you're in it, you don't see yourself. People outside will be able to see what you're doing, so you get really good feedback that way, and that engages self-improvement.
Yes. And so now we're just gonna like wrap up the interview, because like we've come to a sweet spot. And before we leave, when we say goodbye to the audience, what do you have, like, last word of wisdom that you would like to impart on our audience, or share with our audience, so that they carry a little bit of the Cindy tonight when they go to sleep?
Well, I always tell people to keep an open mind, and when you keep an open mind, you create this nice flow of energy around you, and to enjoy the journey. And do not be afraid to try different things. Do not be afraid to dabble on different things, because you never know where it's going to lead you to. Do not be focused on the destination, but celebrate the journey as you go along, the different milestones, because it is those aha moments that you feel that you have achieved something.
Oh, so good. Celebrating the moments.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Cindy. Okay, so we're going to conclude our interview, and make sure, if you want to talk to Cindy, come to the July 21st Esoteric Arts Fair. In person, you can talk with Cindy, or you can visit Cindy's Facebook page, and then you can connect with her there. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we're going to say goodbye. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for having me.